thank you everyone for participating and showing what you have created so far. I hope that this experience of practicing it a bit helped a bit. As I said at the end of our previous session, it is very important to practice. At the first time, it's a bit challenging. Second time, you understand a bit more. By the third time, usually it's much more smoother and you can create what you think of and what you dream to create with the app, you can actually create with it. And I don't know, Asi, if there is any plan to send a survey about this meeting, but if there is, please also share with us what you think about those 15 minutes of practice. If you think it's useful, we will start again with it in our next meeting. Today, we are, as I said when we start the conversation, I want to share with you some tools that can help you create and speak about a process with your participants, and also to show you some, I think, good ways how you can create an interaction, a virtual interaction with your participants. So I will share my screen, and we will start by showing you a few options and few apps that I can speak about. What do I mean by create a processing? So I will give you an example. Maybe I'll stop share. I will share a short story, and then I will share the example. A few weeks ago, the Israeli emissary, the shlicha, in one of the American universities approached to me. She called me and asked me to think of a creative way with her how she can conclude her class. She gave a year class to her students in the University of Massachusetts. She gave a class about Zionism and the meaning of a Jewish homeland in 2020. This was the title of the class. And I thought with her, what kind of activity, a virtual activity, she can create in order to help her students to process and to show to the rest of the group what they feel about the topics that they spoke about. So after looking for a specific app, I found this app called Planner 5D. It is also available in Russian, so you can definitely play with it. This app is not an app for educators. It's an app for people who are building their houses. So I would just say that if you're building a house right now, it might be a good app for you. Why? Because the idea of this app is that you can create your house and then the app will show it to you in 3 dimensions, in 3D. How I use it for education? When you go to my project, and as I said, you can switch to Russian, and then it can also be in Russian and it works. When I go to my project, I hope I'm pressing the right buttons, but I agree. You can see here that here there is a new project. This is an example. What I asked the students to do is to log in to this app and then to go and create their own project by building a house that in a way will reflect what they feel towards towards Israel or the Jewish homeland. But the question could be anything. Build a house that will reflect what you feel towards a specific topic. And the end result was that each couple, we split them into rooms, and each couple, 2 students, created a house that reflects what they learned over the year. And every item that you can see here in the screen share, there is an explanation. they explain to us why they feel that there needs to be 2 sofas, and why the lamps are street lamps, and why there is a vacuum cleaner inside the house. And every item that you can see here have an explanation what is the reason that they chose to put the item in. And when I'm trying to speak about the principle, the idea behind, or at least in my thinking, how we can use technology and how we can use virtual tools to create a phase or a level of processing among our students, I think that this is a good example. Because again, it's not only me building something for them, it's them building something through the app or the website that reflects what they have learned. And if I will give an example with the apps that we already use or the websites, so one option can be me building a Padlet for my students about a specific topic. Second option can always be me asking my participants to build a Padlet that will reflect how they feel about the activity that we just had, or about the process that we had in class during the last semester, for example. And in my experience, using that way makes the students, the participants, to be much more engaged in the process because they need to create something. And suddenly it's fun. In our next meeting, I will show to those of you who will be here how I created, for example, virtual escape rooms. And when I taught this technique to high school teachers here in Jerusalem, it was maybe 5 months ago. Few weeks after, one of the teachers sent me a list of escape rooms that he asked his students to create as a final exam in grade 10. So, and he shared with me that they told him that it was so fun to do this exam because they didn't fail at the exam, but everything must be according to what they learned in class. But the ability to use virtual tools and ask your participants to create something and not only be users, not only experience it as my teacher or my guide or my counselor create something for me, but I need to create something. I think this is my best tip when it comes to ask your students to be involved in the process and show you what you can, what they have learned. And if I will share my screen once again. So we spoke about Planner 5D, sorry. I want to speak for a second about Canva. Canva is a very known app. It's an app for graphic design. And you can ask yourself, what is the connection between graphic design and education or thinking of a process? You see my screen now? Yes. So let me go to Canva for a second. So as I said, Canva is an app for graphic design, also available in Russian. Okay, all the apps that I will show today, available also in Russian. You're going to settings, and then when you have the account, you can choose your language. And here you can switch to Russian. I won't do it now, and I apologize. It's just because I won't understand what I am doing, but it is available also in Russian. So when going to Canva, let me show you some of my designs, for example. Here I have a design that I created for my friend for her wedding. So this is an example. But I want to show you that there is an option, and here on Canva, when I will switch to Russian, there is a button that says share. And when I'm sharing my design, again, I can choose if I want the people that I share with share a link to edit, and I assume that here you can read the same. So if I get the link and I'm telling Padlet, copy link, and now I will share with you the link to this Canva, you will be able to share to share and to edit this design with me. So as an activity in class or with your students, you can again split them into groups, and every 4 students will have to design together a poster that will reflect what they feel about what you just learned or what you just experienced. And this is again the idea of how I can take a tool that is originally not for education, but with right understanding, what can I do with this tool, and how I am explaining what they can do with it. Suddenly it's a tool that is totally about education. Or if I will show another example that is not about Canva, but about one of the Google tools. And as you can see in my presentation here, you have the Google Doc, Google Slide, Google Calendar, Google Sheet. All the Google options are basically the same idea. Why? Because, and I do apologize that this is not in Russian, but I wanted to show you something that I created for myself. And let me find it in a second. Meanwhile, I see that I have two questions. Can we share it for a team to create a home together? Katerina, for your question, yes. When you're going to the Planner 5D, there is an option, share project, and you can send the link to your teammates, and then together you can create a joint house. And then a group of people can create a house, again, that will reflect what they feel towards any topic that you want. And Asi or Yulia, let me know if it's a question of Marina. Should I?
לא, סתם מישהי אמרה שהיא עובדה עם קנבה וזה אחלה כלי.
Oh, great. So I'm happy that you think it's a good tool. I do agree that it's also very easy to use. So it's not only that it's a tool that you can create with your students or teammates. It's a tool that it's fun to use, and again, you can make it collaborative. You can share it with others, and they can edit with you. I want to show you what you can do with Google, because this is an example that I used yesterday with the people that I work with. I designed a slide where I asked them to fill 5 topics that are important in their lives today. And then I asked each and every one of them to put the volume button in the right place about how do they feel, what is the volume of this topic in their life right now. So let's say that someone wrote that community is important for them. So it's an important value in my life right now, but how much do I feel that community is present in my life right now? Is it high volume or low volume? And because it's on Google Slide, when I will do share, the same as Canva, I will be able to create, and let's see if I can do it in Russian for you to see also. Let's see here. Okay, here now it should be in a second in Russian. So when I will press share, and the Google will ask me, oh, here it's not in Russian, I apologize, but it will ask me, like it was on Padlet, it will ask me if I want the participants to be able to edit. And if I'm deciding that I want people to edit, when I will press copy the link and I will send it to you, you will get the link and be able to edit everything on this page. So each participant got his or her own slide. They had to go and find their name, and then to write the value that is important for them, and then to fill what do they feel, what is the volume of this value in their life right now. I can do exactly the same about a class. let's say that we had, a semester and we learned about a specific topic, or we had an activity. If it's informal education, we had an activity about a specific topic. And now I want to ask my participants, how do they feel about what we just learned? And I can create a slide for them. And when sharing it and asking them to edit and giving them the option to edit, this is when they can be part of the process. And now we can process it with them, and we can ask them, what do you feel about this and this and this? And I think it's a great tool. Another option that I want to show you, I think it's a good option for a beginning of a year activity, or beginning of a semester, but it's not mandatory. It's a nice website called Future Me. Future Me, and I will put the link in the chat in a second. So when we were able to meet each other, a fun activity could be that if I want my students or my participants to write what do they want to achieve during our time, a year, in 2 years, doesn't matter. Usually what we could do is to write it on a paper, to put it in a box or whatever, and then in a year from now to open it. Now, when we cannot meet, this is a fun activity to do, because the idea of this website is to write an email to yourself, to choose when you want to receive it, to insert your email, and then on the date that you decided, the app website will send this email to yourself. So it can be in a year from now, but it can also be a week from now. If you have a full day of activity, it can be tomorrow morning. So your opening question of the day can be, what do you want to achieve from this day? Write to yourself an email, and tomorrow you will get this email sharing with yourself what you hoped to achieve yesterday. And now you can ask yourself, did you achieve it? Or what you need to do in order to achieve what you hoped to achieve yesterday. So again, it's a fun tool that you can use in order to raise questions about where am I in the process. What else I want to show you? So another app, and this is the last one in this slide, called Answer Garden. Answer Garden, it's a fun way to ask a question and to receive an answer. What do I mean? Let's say that I want to ask, okay? And this is my question to you. Now, when I'm copying and pasting this link, I would ask you if you can please go to this website and type your answer to the question in the place where you can answer the question. And I want to show you what happens when you're answering the question. So again, I send now a link. Please go to the link. You have a question. Please write an answer and submit. I can even translate here everything to Russian, I think. Here is your answer, and then submit. So you can see that I'm not aware of what you wrote, but I can see that some of you wrote answers, and I can see that what are your answers, and if few of you answered the same answer, exactly the same answer, the specific answer will be bigger than the others. if let's say I'm copying this answer just for the sake of showing it to you and submit, you will be able to see that now we have two answers that are the same, and this specific answer is bigger than the others. And if I will copy a different answer, just again for the sake of showing you what it does, it's more problematic here. And now I'm copying it, submit. You will be able to
שלומי,
see.
לא רואים מה שאתה עושה, רואים רק את הסלייד עם ה...
I apologize.
זהו,
I
לא רואים
apologize.
את העבודה.
Простите, даже.
עכשיו בסדר.
I'm sorry.
Вот,
Yes.
теперь
So
вы видите,
answer
да?
garden.
Вы видите,
So
что
here
некоторые
is,
ответы большего размера.
yeah, so answer garden, this is what it does. So here's the question, here is your answers. And as you can see, let's say that I'm copying one of the answers that I have received. Here I pressed it and it copied here. If I will submit it, you will see that this answer will also be bigger. And now, if I'm submitting it again, then it will show me what is the answer that I have received the most. Because I have one answer that I received twice, the one I have received 3 times, this answer was 1 time. And again, I can ask my students, what do you feel about this class? What do you feel about this topic? What do you want to learn next? Any kind of question, and I will put the link right now to the chat. And Answer Garden, a nice app, again, to ask my students, my participants, any kind of question that I want, and to get an answer from all of them. And with this app, I will show you a few different apps that are maybe a bit more interactive. But I will pause for a second and ask if there are any questions about the apps that I showed that, at least in my eyes, we can use in order to create a discussion or a processing of a semester or a class or an activity with the students. Any questions? Someone want to ask something, please. Okay, so let's continue. And I would like to continue with this slide. And the idea of this slide is how we can create interaction, an online interaction with our participants through few apps. And the first app that I want to show you is actually Zoom. And for that, I will stop sharing for a second. And I want to show you the option of creating a poll on Zoom. And now when I'm launching the poll, you will be able to see on your screens a question with 3 options. And I would ask you to answer the question. Did you know that there is an option to create here on Zoom to create a poll? And as the host, and I will show you in a second what I see when you are answering the poll, as a host, I can see the answers, and I will show you in a second. Here, now I'm sharing my screen now, so you can see what I see on my screen. And I can see, for example, that 13 participants of 26, it's 50%, voted. Out of the 13, 4 or 5 now said that, of course, they knew, they're using it all the time. 6 said that they knew that it's an option, but they didn't know how to do it, and I will show you in a second. And 4 didn't knew that there is an option to create a poll on Zoom. Now, when I'm doing end polling, and obviously I can see how much time the poll is online. When I will do end polling, and I'll stop my share screen, I can also share the results with you. Okay, and then you can see what are the results of the poll. And I see that most of the participants who answered the poll or know that it is an option but doesn't know how to do it, or didn't knew that it's an option. So I will show you in a second how to create a poll on Zoom. But maybe I was speaking about the idea in general. When we're giving an online session, at least in my eyes, we want the participants to be engaged. And one of the ways to do it is to ask them to be interactive with the session. Polls on Zoom, it's a great way, because then you pause for a second and you say, here's a poll. It can be any kind of question. It can also be, how much did you like this session, or how much did you learn from 1 to 5, for example. It can also be questions that related to what you just spoke. Let's say that you're speaking about, again, an example, a specific character, an historic event, let's say. I can create few questions that will check with the students if they followed. And it's good because it can also be anonymously, and it can also be in a way that you can see who answered what. So how do I create polls on Zoom? I will show it quickly because I do see that we have some people who knows how to create it. In order to create polls on Zoom, I have to go to the Zoom website. I have to have my own account on Zoom. So when I'm going to sign in, and I'll try to do it in Russian. Let's see if I'll be able to do it. No, I see it's not working well, but when I'm going to sign in, and I have my own email address, and I can log in my Zoom account. It was not the letters. See. Okay, after I signed in to my account, and again, the Zoom website can also be in Russian if you want. I checked it previously. Language you can change it, but just for me to make sure that I understand what I'm doing. So when I have a meeting, and I don't have any meeting, but just for the sake of the example, I will see the meeting here on meetings. So let's say that I scheduled the meeting and I did save. Okay. Then on my Zoom account, I will be able to see that I have an account. I have a meeting, sorry. Scrolling down, there is an option of poll. Okay, I'll switch to Russian for you to try to see it. Here, there you can see the option. So again, when going into my Zoom account, I'm going to meetings, and then I can see the future meetings that I'm supposed to have. So just for the sake of this example, I created a meeting. When I'm going to my meeting and I'm scrolling down to the bottom of the page, I have the option of creating a poll. So I would do create, and then it asks me for the title of the poll. And then the title is only for myself. I'm the only one who can see what the title. Here I can insert what is my question for the poll. What do I want to ask? And here I'm inserting the different options. After I created this, I can save it. Then let's say that I finished and I have my answers. I have what I want to ask and everything is set. Then only if you're the host, and I will show it to you in a second for you to see, I will share my screen. Now you can see my screen, how I see Zoom. As you can see at the bottom, I have polls. Can you see it here? I have polls, and this is the icon that I'm using. When pressing on it, I can see what was the last poll, but if I will do relaunch polling, continue, you will be able to see that here is the poll that I created, and I can share everything with you. I can do whatever I want, and I can choose what poll I want to share with you and to launch it. Okay, so this is how I'm doing polls. Again, only if I'm the host, I can see this option of polls. And one more thing, the polls option is available only if you have a premium Zoom account. If you have a free Zoom account, it's not available. Okay, so only if you have a premium Zoom account, you can create a poll on Zoom. So this is one option of how I can create interaction with my participants on Zoom. I want to show you another app that is called Mentimeter. Mentimeter, and I will share my screen in a second. Mentimeter is a great app to create, as I said, interactive or interaction between you and your participants. How Mentimeter looks like, and I want to show you, and then I will send the link specifically for Mentimeter. Ekaterina, for your question, yes, you can create up to 50 polls in one Zoom conversation. And then when you name the poll, this is how you choose. Poll number 1, poll number 2, or poll about what do I feel, poll about a question for the class, whatever you want. When you choose the title, only you can see the title, and then you can choose what poll to launch for your participants. So Mentimeter looks like that. Okay, this is the behind the scenes. If I will do present, then one option is always ask your participants, and as you can see, it's also available in Russian. Ask your participants to open a new website or using your phone, whatever they prefer, and go to www.menti.com. This is one option. How I can, I open the voting. This is one option, how I can ask my participants to join me. Second option, and then insert the code. Second option that I want to show you, I can go myself to Menti. Okay, and that's what I will show you now. I will go and see what is the code that they are asking me to put. It's 6830560. I can insert it myself, submit, and now I have a link. And if I am sharing this link with you, you will be able to go directly to the voting. So what I will ask you is to go now to the link that I just shared on the chat. What you're supposed to see on the link is welcome. And I will show it to you here. This is what you're supposed to see. And I see that some people are already familiar with the app, because you can see that there is a heart option and you can send me love. So thank you for your love. I will give a few more seconds to people who are still entering the app. So again, one option is to go into www.menti.com and insert the code 6830560. Option is to go through the chat directly to the questionnaire, to the survey that we are watching now. Now, when I am moving to the right, as you can see, there is a question. And the question is, you can see in front of you, how much do you appreciate, or is this session good or helpful? Let's say that 1 is the lowest number and 5 is the highest number. And I'm asking you to rate from 1 to 5 how much this session is helpful for you. Now you can see together with me online, on live, you can see the results. And you can also see to the right here that we have 8 answers in total. 8 people right now are answering to our survey. And I can see that among the 11, 12 that answers, 10 are thinking that it's 5, 2 are thinking, or 3, it's 4, etc., etc. And it's a good way or a good example of how I'm interacting with you when it comes to a specific question. I want to show more options of the Mentimeter. So here is another question that you should see in front of you. And I would ask you to answer this question. And you can see that, like the answer garden that we saw earlier, it's another way how I can collect answers from you. I asked you a question, you're answering your answers, and I can see the results live on the screen. And again, it's a nice way to collect answers and ask and have a virtual conversation about a specific topic. And we can see, you can see live that how it's moving, that 11 participants so far answered the question about education for them. And we can see how nice it turns. And I wish I knew what is the word, the big word. Asi, what is the word in blue?
כן, אפשרויות, возможно.
אפשרויות.
אפשרויות.
This is the answers that most of you feel about this question. And if I will move again to the right, another slide. And now for this question, the option that I gave is you can write whatever you want. So the app will call it open-ended question. And in a second, I will show you the behind the scene of the app. But here you can see how you can, so at the first slide, I ask a question and I ask you to rank from 1 to 5. Second question was to write, for example, in a short way. But here you can write whatever you want. And even if we will have many answers on the screen, we will be able to see all of them, because in a second, when we'll have more answers, you will see that it's floating around, it will move, and I can decide when I want to stop it, and I can go specifically and speak about a specific answer. And again, it's a fun way to create an interactive break during your session. And thank you for your answers. And again, if I'm moving to the right, you will see the last slide. Thank you, Spasiba, for participating. And we finished with our presentation. Now I will take you for a second to the backstage of this app. And I want to show you what do I get when creating this kind of activity. So here is the Mentimeter. It is also available in Russian. The website itself of the survey, okay, where I'm building my survey, called Mentimeter. And here you have it in the chat. It is also available in Russian, as I said. I will translate just for myself in order to be able to go to my presentations. So maybe first I need to say that on Mentimeter, there is a free plan option and a premium plan option. The free plan option gives you 5 surveys for free, when in each survey you can have up to 3 slides. This is the free option. The premium option, where you need to pay, you can have unlimited. And I can show with you that, for example, I am sharing it with other friends. So we have a premium option, the paid option, and together with friends, each one of us have his own folder, and we can use it even at the same time with different presentations. So here is our presentation. When I went to my folder and I entered my slide, you can see that in the configuration, I asked it to be in Russian, so it's also optional. And when I will do add slide, you will see that now it gives me different options of what kind of slide I want to have. I can be multiple choice, and this is what we experience. It can be word cloud, again, we experienced it. It can be open-ended, what we experience, but it can also be scale. It can be ranking. You can create a competition with a right, if there is a right answer and a wrong answer, and then the participants can have score and there can be a winner. So what I like the most about this specific website and this specific app is that their options are really diverse. You can have different options, and obviously, even after I finished with our survey, I can still go and download my results and see and share it with everyone. I can download and see what were the results, and it's not deleting it. So I can see, okay, and I can analyze for myself, and I can ask why 3 people think it's only 4, or what are the answers that I received for this question or for this question. And then what I can do is to obviously use it for my ways, as I said, to create interaction with my students, participants, whatever. So this is Mentimeter, and as I said, I highly recommend, even not for online use. Even if you're in a frontal setting and you want to have a short break and to create an interaction with your students, with your participants, I find it a very good option to create. You can ask them to use their phones and not only going with the computers, and they can take their phones, enter to Menti, insert the code, and they can choose the options through their phone. So it's a great app. Second app that I want to show you, again, when it comes to everything that is interaction slides or presentation, called Zittings. This is the logo, Zittings. What does Zittings do and why it's good and helpful? Zittings. Let me copy the link for you. So what is Zittings? Zittings can take any kind of PowerPoint presentation, okay? And creating the PowerPoint presentation, you can insert a slide, and in the slide, you can make it interactive. I will show an example. So obviously you can upload also presentation in Russian, it doesn't matter. So what does it do? Here is the example. I haven't created my own, but I want to show you what you can do with the Zittings. Make sure that you see it. Okay, you can see it. So here is the Zitting. Let's say that I have a presentation. It can be in any language that you want. It depends on the PowerPoint presentation. People can have the link to the presentation, and then with their phones, with iPads, with laptops, whatever they have, they can log to the presentation. And when you are changing a slide, they will see it on their devices. So when you're moving to the right, they will see the presentation on their device. And then you can insert a poll where you're asking them, here, this is the example, when you're asking them to answer a question, and when they will answer a question, the results will appear on the slide on the screen. So it is a bit similar to Mentimeter. The advantages of Zittings is that if you already have a presentation for your class or for your activity, then you can add a slide that will be interactive. Okay, again, like almost every other app, they have a free plan and a premium plan. In the free plan, you can have up to 3 presentations. Okay, if you want to have more, you need to delete one and then insert another one. But the free plan gives you 3 presentations that you can create on Zittings. So it's another way how you can create an interactive game, interactive questionnaire, any kind of interaction with your participants. I do see that there is a comment. Maybe I will move to the Julia. Is that a question? Okay, great. Thank you. I want to show you, I think, 2 more, because I don't want to do too much. I heard from the survey of previous meeting that it was a lot of tools. So 2 more, and then questions, and we'll end our meeting for today. So 1 is about interaction, and 1 is just fun activity that you can do. So I will show my presentation for a second. I already inserted here Kahoot. Is everyone, do we have someone here who is not familiar with Kahoot? Because I know that Kahoot is very familiar and very known. If there is someone here who wants me to speak about Kahoot, please write in the chat or unmute yourself, and I'll be happy to speak about it, but I know that many people knows Kahoot. Okay, so I don't need to speak about Kahoot, but if there is someone specifically who wants to learn about it, I'll be happy to. Feel free, okay, to ask about it. So QR codes are always a great way how you can create an interaction, okay? You can do a QR code to a link, to a picture, to really any kind of link that you want. And I find that we're not using them enough. I would say that in the new phones that I'm assuming that most of our students have, in their camera, in the phone, there is a built QR code scanner. So they can just use with the camera and automatically can scan a QR code. So if you want to show your students a video, for example, or to send them to a Mentimeter, and you create it already and you want to send it to them, you can create a QR code that will send them directly to where you want them to go. And how do you do it? I will share in a second. QR code, my most preferred website for QR code scanner is a very simple website. It's not in Russian, but I do assume that in Russian you can find generators. The QR code generator, this is the name of this website. Okay, let's say that I have the link to the Mentimeter that I shared with you previously, okay? And I want my students or participants to go to to go immediately to this website. So when I'm pressing, okay, instead of text, URL, and I'm pasting the URL here, this QR code if you will scan it, will take you now to this website. Okay, I can go to Mentimeter, okay, for the example, and here is just an example, and then paste it here, and now this QR code will take me to this specific address. Now, if I want to save it, assuming that it's here, I can just save it, I can print it, I can put it in my slide, whatever I want, in order to make it a bit more interactive. Okay, so I think that QR code are not in use enough. We can use them more, but really it's your a decision how to use it. The last app that I will show about interactiveness or how to be interactive with your students, it's an app called Echo. I must say that even for me, it's a bit complicated app. So I would say that for those of you who are just beginners and beginning to use technology in your educational programs, I would suggest to wait with it a bit. But for those of you who feel that they want to do something really special for your students, Echo. What is Echo and what is so special about it? Echo is a platform to create an interactive video, meaning that your students will be able to decide inside a video what they want to do next. And here is an example, okay? I tried to find something in Russian. I apologize, I couldn't, but I just want to show you one example. This is an example that Birthright in Israel created, and it's through Echo. So when starting going live,
Hey you, welcome to Israel, a land which has been a bridge between continents, nations and traditions for thousands of years, as well as a bustling modern state that ignites the imagination. Today we're going on an adventure, a Birthright Israel adventure. We will explore modern and ancient sites, we'll hit the beach, we will taste great food, we'll meet amazing people. But the best thing is that you decide where to go. Whenever you see the decision button, just click on the screen and I'll take you there. I promise. So, are you ready? Yalla, let's get started.
As you can see, there is an option here, actually in Russian, I didn't know that there is subtitles.
Come on, just click the button.
Click the button and it will take me to the next
Okay,
page.
we're all set. Let's start our day by exploring the history of this country. Where would you like to start?
So as you can see here, to the right, I have Masada.
Hurry up, history
To the
awaits.
left, I have, I think it's Jerusalem, if I'm not mistaken. But let's say I want to go to Masada, I can press, and it will actually take me to the place where I decided to go. We'll stop share for a second. I send you the link to this website. As I said at the beginning, it's a bit complicated to create this kind of activity. But if there are any people here who want to challenge themselves a bit and maybe try to learn something new, echo.com, and I will put maybe the link also to the website itself, to how to create it. You can go online and create interactive video. As I said, it's not easy. Last app that I want to show you today, and then I will open to any kind of questions, whatever you want to ask me, is app that comes to, I'll share my screen, to create fake social network. So I'm assuming, maybe it's a wrong assumption, but in Israel at least, many of the kids are on social media. And I find it a very fun activity to ask them to create social media that will present someone. For example, if you learned about a historical character or historical event, let's create the Facebook page of this person or this event. How do I do it? The website that I'm using called ZUB. This is the website, and I will put the link in the chat in a second when it will upload. And on this website, you can create WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, iPhone conversations, and this is the idea. Create any kind of the social media. So let's say that I want to create a Facebook page of something. So I can go generate Facebook and generate a Facebook page. And as you can see, when I'll translate it to Russian, everything here will be able to be fake. Oh, I need to cancel my block. Here, now you will be able to see it. and it's also available to Russian translation. And you can create, you can decide what do you want to be the profile picture and what do you want to be the post, and everything that's how a Facebook page looks like can be recreated according to your activity. And I find it a great app in order to create fun activity that is based on social media. In my clock, we have 4 minutes. So I will open up to any kind of questions, concerns, something that you want to raise. You're free to write in the chat if you have any question.
כותבים שהכל נהדר, תודה רבה.
I even understand now the Russian, I think, letters and why it's specific.
Я уже понимаю, начал понимать русские буквы.
So I would say that for our next meeting, again, please try to practice some of the programs and the apps and the websites that I showed you. If you thought that it was a good idea to start by splitting into small group and to practice, we will do it again next time. In our next meeting, I will show, as I said, how to create a virtual escape room. It's a bit more complicated because it is, how I do it, it's a mix of few ideas, and I'm using how to build websites and how to use learning apps and how to use YouTube. And I will speak about the world of virtual reality. How do I create virtual museums? How do I do virtual tours? How I can create a tour somewhere? And also augmented reality. How do I use these worlds in educational activities? And please, if you have any kind of question, again, if you're trying to work on a specific program or app or website and you're stuck and you want to ask a question, don't hesitate to email Debbie. Debbie will forward the question for me and I will be happy to answer. I want to wish you all Shana Tova. I hope that you enjoyed. May the year that comes upon us will bring happiness and healthiness and only good things. Thank you so much, everyone, and enjoy the holiday.